The first race of the America's Cup is due to start in 1 hour, so I haven't got long to film this, so let's get into it. While I had the 3 purple impact drivers open, having a look at the insides, I figured I might as well have a look at the old Impulse here, the oil impact driver from Makita, and it too has a fuse. So as you can see in there, we have an orange 40 amp automotive fuse. Is it only the Japanese impact drivers from Makita that have the fuses in them? No, it is not. If you buy the premium impact drivers from Makita, they will have this fuse type system in them. The El Cheapo ones, if they're made in China or made in Japan, still won't have the fuses in them. But the good ones, if they're made in China and you're getting them in a country like New Zealand for instance, they will still have the fuse in them, as is evident in this video that I filmed about 6 or 7 months ago. We'll just play a little clip of that. Now, I'm going to pull this one apart just to make sure it looks the same on the inside as the other one. See if it's got that protection with the fuse, that sort of thing. I'm pretty sure these tools are going to be identical though. The Japanese one has IP56 on it and the Chinese one does not. Hopefully that doesn't mean it's not though. Now I've had this one apart before, if you do recall, in the video where we compared the insides with the 18 volt. And there we go. Looks absolutely identical at first glance. I can see the fuse, the switch has the same numbering on it. Everything looks identical apart from a couple of QA marks like this blue one here and this red one on the other tool. All the wires are the same colors. I should take the English one out of the new model and stick it in my purple ones are pictures. These ones are done in words. Why didn't they put the pictures on there, and then they wouldn't have to make any different ones for different countries. The Japanese one could just look like that. Japanese are still going to know what those symbols mean surely. Both of them come with a 30 amp car fuse, which is an important thing to remember. If something goes wrong with one of these, open it up, check that first. The mold date on this one is also a couple of months earlier, October 2019, whereas this one is December 2019. The dates on these parts are different also, and this one has the date of manufacture on the base of the driver near the battery terminal, whereas the Japanese one does not. Out of interest, this was produced in April 2020, whereas this one I know must have been made in about October 2019. I get a lot of questions about these coloured impact drivers and just impact drivers in general from Japan. People like to get hold of these impact drivers that are made in Japan. People think they're better. They are pretty much the same from what I can tell, and from what I've looked with the 40 volt versus the one that we got here in New Zealand, which is made in China. They look identical on the inside to me. But there are a lot of people that collect sort of Japanese culture things, as is evident from this picture sent in by a fan of the show. I can tell you where to get the impact drivers. There'll be links to these coloured impact drivers down in the description. But as for the dolls, I don't know anything about that, but I'm sure you can Google it. I don't know what they're called, but hey, if you haven't seen the video where I pulled these 3 apart and had a closer look inside, go check that out over on Tools and Stuff. I'll put a link up there down in the description. But while we've got this oil one open, we'll just have a quick little look at that. It has the switch before the 171. So this is the model just before the 171. This one has a slight modification to it, and then these two are better again. But it's the impacts we want to look at here. This is oil impulse. Oh, and also this one is made for an American market, so it comes with this security tag here, which I've never seen in any tool made for the New Zealand market. But the most interesting thing, of course, is the impact area. We've got an interesting bearing here. Look at the diameter of that bearing. This is a bearing. Pops just sits over, very similar to how this just sits over. This is the 172, the 171. 171 screwed in tight. This one just sits there, the whole thing just pops out, which I'm a little bit worried about, because when I was thinking about it after I filmed the video, I thought, if this pops, if that's just held like that, the only thing holding it together is the case and the friction pushing backwards on that motor. So if this is banging away like crazy, going backwards and forwards inside, With this riding backwards and forwards on this tight spring here and hitting against the other end, what is stopping it from pushing this end out? This one is screwed in, so it can't do that. That one is not. This is a different sort of system. This is a bit of a sealed unit here. I don't really want to pull it apart because this has fluid in it. By fluid, you know, it's got oil or something in it. I don't know exactly. I've never pulled one apart, and I can't actually get this white plastic piece off without pulling this collet and everything apart, which I don't want to do on an impact driver that's so new and costs so much. But they've got the planetary gears on this one in a separate unit, which is interesting. Those ones, the drive from the motor goes straight in and drives the hammer essentially after it goes through the planetary gears. This one, you have the same shaft here on the motor, turns the planetary gears, but then we have a hexagon. So that's quite cool. We've got a hexagon drive that turns this oil impulse unit, or soft impact unit. Maybe one day I'll be brave enough to completely pull this apart. I don't think it's going to be today on this channel, because, yeah, I'm not sure the viscosity of that fluid. It's probably pretty thick, but if it happens to be a bit liquidy and I'll end up losing it, I haven't got anything to put back in it. And yeah, I don't want to stuff it. So that was just a really quick video to show you all 4 of these tools have fuses in them. If you buy these tools and they're not made in Japan, they will still have fuses in them. This tool, very cool, has the fuse, interesting system here. Thanks for watching. There's way more stuff on these impact drivers over on my other channel. Cheers, see you later. It's not my doll. I don't know where the doll came from. I don't have that impact driver or that doll. But if you want one of these purple ones, down in the description.